That beautiful countryside, is actually provided really by the farming community. When you get the likes of BlackRock getting their teeth into it, I can't think that they will have the the beauty of the countryside as a top priority, let alone the welfare of the animals. But look, I mean, the whole issue about tax, I mean, it's a misnomer anyway, because taxes don't fund our public services in any event. I mean, this is a con, this is a myth. We have a fiat currency in this country. It's not backed by any commodity, as used to be the case. We used to be part of what was called the Bretton Woods Agreement, but Richard Nixon jettisoned that in 1971. So it's been a floating fiat currency ever since. And this is why, going back to 1976, when Dennis Healey went to the International Monetary Fund on a false premise that somehow Britain was running out of money, was absolutely absurd. You can't run out of money when you're issuing the currency. It's not the availability of money that's the issue. And this whole talk about a financial black hole is complete garbage. There is no black hole. The government's got access to all the money it needs. It just a few keystrokes in the treasury, and the money's provided. What they need to focus on is actually identifying and creating, where it doesn't exist, the real resources in the economy. And what I mean by that is the labour, the skilled labour in certain circumstances to do the things that need to be done in the country, and the availability of the materials to improve the infrastructure, build the houses, and so on and so forth. But the actual availability of money is not an issue at all. And we've been conned by this for years and years and years. And I think some of the people actually genuinely believe it. But that isn't really how the economy works. And a quote I often remind people of is what Henry Ford said many years ago, when he said, if people understood how the banking and the monetary system actually operated, there'd be a revolution by tomorrow morning. I mean, my ambition has been to try and create that revolution for the last few years. I think more and more people are waking up, but unfortunately, those sitting in the Houses of Parliament, there is not a solitary soul who's making the case that the argument that Rachel Reeves is putting forward about a financial black hole and about the need to levy taxes. Nobody's making that point, that this is all a myth. Taxes are required, obviously, to generate a value for the currency, because it's a worthless piece of paper otherwise. You need to pay your taxes in pound sterling. So that creates and generates a value for the currency. But it's also important, taxes are also important to address inflation. So, for example, if you had a situation where government was wanting to invest in, say, infrastructure, housing, whatever it might be, and they started, because the economy was then overheating, where the government was then competing for resources and labour, etc., with the private sector, then that would create an inflationary pressure. We're nowhere near that situation at the moment. But were that situation to arise, well, the taxation system can be then used to dampen the demand from the private sector to create the space for the government, for those public priorities. And of course, taxes are necessary to drive certain consumer spending habits. So, for example, environmentally, government priorities to on a particular area which is better for the environment, and they can encourage people to spend money on particular products which are less energy requiring large amounts of energy, to get people to buy things which are more efficient, as it were. It can be used for things like that, or indeed to deter people from smoking and things like that. So, tackling inequality, to tax, because obviously these wealthy billionaires that you mentioned at the top of our discussion have a lot of power. And the more money they have, goes with that lots and lots of power. So, taxes is necessary to address the inequality in the country.